I hate Uber Eats. There's no other way to say it. I gotta be blunt. I just hate Uber Eats. Of all of the gig apps in my repertoire, it is my least favorite one by far. But this is a pros and cons video. Therefore, I somehow have to mix all of those negatives that I have and give you some positives of it and come to the conclusion of whether or not it's still worth it in 2026. I got some tricks up my sleeve to make this happen. Let's go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to another Cruisin with Corey. As I said in the intro, today we are talking about Uber Eats. This is our third in the series of pros and cons videos here in 2026, and letting you know where I feel that these apps stand in the platform, whether you should do them, whether you shouldn't do them, what opinions I have, do they mix with your opinions? However you want to surmise it, we're just going to have a discussion on Uber Eats. If it's your first time here, again, I'm a dad. I do these gig apps as my primary source of income as a stay-at-home dad. I fill in the gaps wherever I have time. The gig apps are perfect for that. Like, share, comment, subscribe if that's something that you resonate with. But we're going to get into this here today. I'm going to do 5 cons, and we're going to do the cons first, which if you've watched my last few on these, it's a little different. Usually we're positive first, then negative. Today we're going to be negative first, because that's just how I feel like doing it. So let's get into it. The cons. Let's go. Number 1, and this is a running theme through the entirety of Uber Eats, and that is lack of order transparency. Now, what does that mean? To me, it means that most of the orders that you accept and the orders that you see on Uber, you are not taking with the full knowledge of what is being asked of you. Whether it be the full pay, because they still hide tips, whether it be the address, because you don't see the full address, whether it be what items you're shopping for, because you don't see them. And if you're doing a stack order, multiple drop-offs, multiple pickups, you don't even know where all of your pickup locations are. On a standard Uber offer card, here is what you get when it's a stack order. It says delivery with how many there are. It tells you one of the restaurants, usually the first one, and then it tells you a vague street corner of the last drop-off. All the other ones completely blind, and you only have 20 seconds or so to make that opinion. Scroll in, try to figure out all those details. For me, I need to know what I'm accepting before I do it, and Uber Eats, I've been bit in the booty so many times of taking terrible offers that I would not have taken had I had known what they actually were ahead of time. So lack of transparency, I don't even see how this is legal, but absolutely this is the number one thing I hate about it, lack of transparency. Tell me what it is I need to do up front. Number 2, base pay. Uber, from what I've understood, and I've heard this from a buddy who you'll hear from a little later, it is the lowest base pay in the market. It has cracked the $2 barrier. We have gone below that to $1.50. Uber now has the lowest base pay. I have not seen DoorDash actually offer on a single order an order in the ones before. Maybe I could stand corrected on that, but lowest base pay in the market. And you'll see this as a running theme with Uber Eats. The offers that they will give you are they're abysmal, and it all stems from the lowest base pay. I will say Uber does scale higher than the other apps. Like, you'll see surges on Uber go higher than they will on any other app, but it takes a while to get there. So the majority of the orders that you see on Uber are really going to be customer tip dependent, more so than even DoorDash, more so than even Grubhub. The base pay, again, we've cracked $2. Now, where is the floor? The floor could be friggin' $1 at this point. They'll probably try it. Number 3, ridiculous requests. And if you are someone who's going for one of those Uber Eats tier programs, which now do exist, where they do consider your AR into where you stand on the priority scale, this is the stuff you're going to have to deal with. Uber Eats is very in line with retail pickups, Home Depot, Lowe's, and they will have the most ridiculous requests, but also just sending you so far away from your zone, so far away from where you are. They will literally send you over 10 miles away. They will send you to a restaurant or a store over 10 miles from where you are. And they're not scaling the pay for that up front. My new YouTube friend Sarah Elizabeth does a good series on who the hell is accepting these orders.
On today's episode of Who the Hell is Taking These Orders, I'm just going to start with the worst one I've seen this week. $5 for 18.4 miles. $3.59 for 12 miles. Here we have a lovely $6.43 for a whopping 10.2 miles.
This is the stuff that Uber sends you, and if you're going for those tier programs, you're going to have to take some of those if you want to stay in the buzz. So, good luck. I ain't taking them. Number 4, worst driver support by far. A lot of people will roast DoorDash. I've not really had any bad experiences on DoorDash, and for that matter, I mean, Spark isn't great, but it's not terrible. Shipt, I've had okay experience, but Uber is terrible. Just getting to a person is the hardest. There's a humongous language barrier, and they will not compensate you for things that other apps will compensate you on. For example, one day, and I did a video on this, I had a $35 shopping order. The customer requested to cancel it. Mind you, I had driven 7 miles to the restaurant, spent 25 minutes in the store. They gave me $6 on a $35 order. DoorDash in that instance would have paid me at least half pay, sometimes even more. So they don't have the driver's back most of the time. They will always side with the customer whenever it comes to any kind of customer complaint. I didn't get my item. I didn't get my order. They won't take your proof. They won't take your dispute. They just say there's 2 sides to every story. Now we know your side, even when you have objective proof to tell you the customer's lying. They don't have your back at all, and they certainly won't pay you when issues happen. So if you have to deal with support, good luck. And number 5, quite frankly, as an IT guy myself, this app is not built for food delivery. Obviously, the Uber platform is an entirety that consists of the rideshare program, UberX. So they have tried to basically make the app do 2 different things because they are vaguely similar. You know, you're taking something from point A to point B, but in the case of food delivery, you have a point C in there, which is your spot, the pickup, and then the drop-off. And it's just quite obvious that the app is not designed to deal with the extras that come with food delivery in an efficient way. And that's why you'll see the word fare, not base pay. You'll see fare. That's a taxi word. That's why when you deal with support, and this is another story I had where, you know, if you get tip baited, which does exist, and how I didn't bring that up. Yeah, tip baiting is still a thing, even though they say tip guarantees are happening, hasn't happened across the board. There was a day where I called about a tip bait, because sometimes they'll pay you back, very rare. And they said, well, tips are a bonus. They shouldn't be expected. Well, that's where you're telling me that $1.50 is commensurate pay with driving 7 miles? No, that's not commensurate with that. On UberX, you see the base fare up front, and you accept that, and if you get a tip after, you get it. On Uber Eats, you cannot tell me that $1.50 is commensurate pay with driving 7 miles. It's just they are not built to do 2 different things. That's why you see street corners instead of full addresses. That's why you don't see item lists on the offer card, because quite frankly, they don't want to invest the time in the software development to make a new offer card. They want to keep one system for 2 platforms that have 2 different needs. And for that reason, Uber just lacks in a lot of interface issues that the other apps don't have. In my opinion, I think they should just branch off and make 2 apps, but I don't think they ever will, so you'll have to deal with these. Torian, Mr. 6'6" Dasher, he does Uber Eats a lot more than me, and he, at the time that I asked him to do this request, had a lot more positive things to say about it. If you watch his videos lately, he's gotten bit a lot. But at the time I told him to do it, he had a lot of positive things. He's going to do the pros. I'm going to hand it off to you, Torian.
Just as a disclaimer, I recorded my cons without even listening to his pros because I wanted to do this completely unfiltered and unbiased. So there will be a couple differences of opinion from what I've said to what he says, but differences of opinion is what makes this fun.
Pro number 1, sounds very small, but to me it matters a lot. Uber probably has one of the best interfaces and CarPlay integrations out of any of the platforms across DoorDash, Grubhub, you name it. They probably have the best interface. It's super clean, super smooth, very user friendly, super intuitive. I really enjoy when I first started using Uber. It was very self-explanatory for everything. And like I said, the CarPlay integration, when it first started, it was terrible. It didn't give you a lot of information, but now they've upgraded it, and I mean it's a world of difference. I don't even think DoorDash has one. They show it on my CarPlay, but I'm not able to access it. But as far as Uber having that, if you're just using Uber, it is a great tool to use. I can't think of anything that I have negative to say about it. Every little bit of information that it displays to you on your phone when you're driving, it displays that exact same information on your infotainment center. So if you have CarPlay, Android Auto, or whatever, I've never used Android Auto, but check it out, man. It's wonderful. All right, guys, pro number 2, and to me, this one's huge. Uber Eats has 0 zones. So unlike DoorDash, Grubhub, if you pull up any of those, a lot of the apps that I use favor, they have restrictions of where you can work. And to me, the fact that Uber Eats does not have any zones makes a world of difference, simply because I can work wherever I want to, and I'm not confined to be in a certain bubble. It gives you the ability to have no boundaries. There's no dead miles. So like, for instance, if you're driving with DoorDash and you take an order that's 10 miles going north, a lot of the times, unless you decide to switch zones, you have to drive all those dead miles back to get within the area of where you want to dash. And to me, the fact that Uber doesn't give you any boundaries, it makes it so much better to be able to have that flexibility. So that's pro number 2. Pro number 3, and this one is also very huge. True flexibility, man. Uber probably is one of the more flexible apps that you can have in the gig workspace. With Uber Eats, I can go online whenever I want to. I don't have any scheduling, any blocks, no waiting for a time slot. Now, I have heard in other people's channels that they are starting to do the scheduling, but these are my pros. I don't have that, so I don't have to deal with that. But you know how, like on DoorDash, you typically have to schedule and things like that. Grubhub, you have to do blocks and things of that sort. With Uber Eats, I can literally wake up at whatever time of the day it is. I can just hit go and go make money. So that's a huge plus to me. The fact that if I need to go out and make $50 to go pay for a bill or whatever the case is, I can just get up and go make money. So that's pro number 3 for me with the Uber Eats platform. All right, guys, pro number 4 on the Uber Eats platform, the ability to be selective. Uber Eats probably has the best cherry picking friendly app that's out there on the market right now. Declining orders on Uber Eats does not affect the quantity or the quality of orders that you get. I've literally had 0% acceptance rate several times, and it doesn't make a difference on the amount of orders that I get or the quality of orders that I get. I do know that they have the tier system, and when they initially came out with the tier system, you've seen a difference on the type of orders that you were getting. But since then, which has been months, I've had no issues with like I said, the quantity or the quality of orders that I get. The fact that I have the ability to sift through all of the junk orders that I don't want to take and then be selective and take the orders that I do want to take, makes a huge difference as far as what it is that I'm trying to do, especially when I'm trying to make money. So that's pro number 4 for me. Pro number 5, last but not least, Uber Eats is an elite filler app. And what I mean by that is if you're using, if you're multi-apping and if you're using different apps like I do, DoorDash, Grubhub, different catering apps, things like that, a lot of the times, like I spoke about earlier in the zones, you'll have an order that'll take you out of the zone. And so let's say, for instance, you're going 10 miles north and you're outside of your zone. I would use Uber to pull me back in the zone, looking for orders, being selective, finding orders that I could take that's going to bring me back to my zone. Also, where it's elite as well is dirty stacking, because I can, if I'm taking that same $10 order going north for 10 miles, I can try to find an Uber order that's going in that same direction, as long as it makes sense, as long as it doesn't jeopardize the customer's orders and things like that. So Uber is very critical when it comes to things like that. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I have. Once again, my name is Torian, aka 6'6" Dasher. Please check me out on my channel. Once again, Cruisin with Corey. Thank you for having me on your channel. That's all I got for you guys. I'm out.
Nice.
Thank you for that, Torian. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. Let's get him to 500 subscribers as fast as possible. But is it worth it? Now, I have terrible experience with it. I don't like doing Uber Eats, but I do it. Now, you don't have to like everything that you do. I like going to sporting events and concerts. I don't like paying ridiculous fees to Ticketmaster. But if I choose to do one, I have to accept the other. If I want to make money, because there are good offers, I have to take the negatives of it. So when you take them all together, I'm going to say it's worth it enough to keep it on. But again, you need to be very picky about what you're doing. Scroll on the map as fast as possible. Try to only take single offers because at least you can sort of figure out what you're dealing with. If you're doing shopping orders, again, it is a risk. You don't know necessarily if there's going to be 10 cases of water because as we know, if it says heavy, that's not always the truth. So you just really have to analyze the orders that you take on Uber Eats to make sure you're not going to get bit. Have you been to this apartment complex? Have you been to this address? Is it a tip baiter? You don't have a lot of time to make these decisions, but if you can make the decisions, you can make money. But again, there's a lot of risks and there's a lot of unknowns. If you enjoyed this, put in the comments, which app do you want me to get into next for the next pros and cons series? We have about 4 or 5 left in that I haven't covered yet and would love to get your feedback. Put your opinions in. What do you disagree with? What do you agree with? What are your experiences? Let's have some good communications down in the comments. Hey, like, share, comment, subscribe. We're pushing for 1,500 subscribers here. Would love if you join us for the ride here on Cruisin with Corey as we grow things, having some fun. Let's do it together. This is Cruisin with Corey. Corey out.
It sound right, boys.